let me encourage you again. I say this to you from the depth of my heart, and I say this to you in all truthfulness, and I say this to you with all audacity. If you listen to the truths that I teach you, you will never fail. It's true.
Please like our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, share our videos with your friends. May the Lord bless you as you do this.
James chapter 1 verse 5. Forever sing your praise, and I will forever sing your praise. The Bible says, if any of you lack wisdom. So the Bible tells us it is possible that a man can lack wisdom. It does not stop him from being a human being. It is possible to live without the wisdom of God at work in you. And it says, if any of you lack wisdom. The question here before we read on is, how do you know you lack wisdom? Because you only ask when you don't have it. But how do I know that I do not have wisdom? Because remember, the Bible says every man is right in his own eyes. So based on what parameter do I use to arrive at the conclusion that I am bankrupt of wisdom? There is nobody I know on earth, with the exception of few people, who will admit that they are not wise. Is that true? You try telling somebody who considers himself a gentleman and say, I don't think you are exactly wise. And you think the person will laugh at you and say, wow, I'm just learning that. No, you're going to have a big problem. The person is not wise. Me? Am I a madman? Do I look like one? But the Bible says, if any of you realizes that he lacks wisdom. So the first assignment is not to ask. The first assignment is to find out, how do you know that the wisdom of God, that the spirit of wisdom is working in your life? Are we together now? There must be a system in the kingdom that God has provided to help men understand. So I can come to the conclusion, because you see, as human beings, it is very difficult for us to admit that certain things are not working in our lives. Especially for believers. We are people of faith, and sometimes we can exaggerate it, and admitting the deficiency of certain qualities in our lives is not natural for men to admit. Are we together now? Yes. When you tell someone he can't cook, say, no, I can cook. What are you? I mean, this is it. You are evidently seeing that this meal is not servable, and the person is saying, I can cook, because in his eyes, this is a wonderful meal. Are we together? You are seeing a gentleman who is not looking smart, and you're saying, no, you are not dressing smart. Say, no, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I'm very, very okay. So it is difficult. I'm explaining to you this if any man lack wisdom, is a very deep process to arrive at a point. Let me tell you, realizing whatever makes you come to a point where you know you do not have wisdom has to be the Spirit of God. The arrogance of men does not allow for that level of admission. We can secretly desire to be wiser. We can secretly admire individuals who the spirit of wisdom is evidently working in, but to outspokenly admit, no. It's very uncomfortable. Are we together? But the Bible says, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask who? Let him ask of God, that giveth unto how many men? So the manifestation of the wisdom of God in the life of a believer is not privy to certain intelligent people. It's not privy to apostles and prophets. No. The giving of this operation of the Spirit is given to all men. He says he does so liberally. And then, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given. That means if I look at your life and I do not see wisdom, I am safe to conclude at certain things. Number one, that you have not received. And you receive not because you have not asked. And you ask not because you have not seen the deficiency in your life. Are you seeing that now? That means if you look at my life and your life, and I am bankrupt of the wisdom of God, not the wisdom of men that comes to naught, the wisdom of God. If it is not in my life, the Bible says if I ask, it should be given. So if it is not in my life and God is benevolent, it means that I have not genuinely asked. And I have not asked because I have not seen the need. And when there was no more vessel, the oil stopped. That means something about my understanding. I have indoctrinated myself into believing that I have sufficient wisdom. Let me tell you the formula that the Bible designed for men to know whether there is wisdom in their lives or not. Wisdom is very vocal. The Bible says wisdom is justified by her children. Wisdom is justified by her children. There are fruits in your life and my life that validates the presence of wisdom. There has to be fruits in your life and my life. There are things I cannot as a human being be sure of whether you have them or not. I leave that to God. Wisdom is not part of those. Because if the wisdom of God is functioning in the life of an individual, it is justified by the results. Children there talks of the results, the proceedings that come from a life that is under the influence of wisdom. So how do you know tonight whether or not the wisdom of God, and more so the spirit of wisdom, is at work? Very simple. Look at your results. Look at your life unbiasedly. Look at your life unashamedly, and then you can come to the conclusion that the repetition of pain, the repetition of failure, listen carefully, the repetition of struggle, the repetition of hardship, the repetition of the absence of the power, the grace, the favor of God in your life is a testament that the spirit of wisdom may not be at work in you. The spirit of God is at work in you, but that dimension of wisdom may not be at work in you. Are you blessed? Lack of the wisdom of God is what is responsible for the anxiety of men. You know what it means to be anxious? Worrisome. The fear that plagues people, you will always fear until you know what to do. And he himself knew what he ought to do.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification button to know when we upload more videos.